Alright, and we're back for the semi-finals of Poplot Super Series here. This round we have Ben Johnson again from last round playing Naya mid-range, and then on the other side we have Justin Chong playing Black-White Control. So Justin has kept his hand. He's currently holding a Forsaken Sanctuary, a Westvale Abbey, a Plains, an Ultimate Price, a Ruinous Path, Hallowed Moonlight, and a Sorin Grim Nemesis. So it's looking like a pretty solid hand, a couple of removal spells, some lands, and then we're just seeing if Ben is going to keep his hand. It looks like he's got... let's see... Yep, so he's kept on 6 cards. He's got a Forest, an Oath of Nissa, a Tireless Tracker, Dragonlord Attacker, Nahiri, the Harbinger, Radiant Flames, and he has Scryed to the top. So he's led off with his Forest, and he's played his Oath of Nissa, so he's obviously going to be looking for a land here. He chooses to take the Needle Spires, and he also draws a Cinderglade for his turn. So he's really managed to find some lands there, which is pretty good. He'll have enough mana to be able to play that Tireless Tracker out on turn 3, and then he's managed to find another Oath of Nissa there, so he's going to get another couple of looks. Justin just developing his lands out, playing out that Forsaken Sanctuary and then a Caves of Koilos that he's picked up. Okay, Ben able to find a Nissa there, which is going to let him find his 4th land, and just playing the Needle Spires tapped. Yep, Justin just cycling the Hallowed Moonlight, knowing that it's not going to do too much in this matchup. He has seen Ben's deck list, so he knows that there's not any Collected Companies or anything running around, or any Secure the Wastes. And just plays another land and passes. I think that's really Justin's plan for a lot of the early turns of this matchup, is just going to be playing lands and passing, especially with a hand like this. He would really like to see some kind of threat in the next couple of turns, but not as of yet. Okay, so he finds a Transgress, which is going to get to fire off and get some really good information about Ben's hand. Ben just pointing towards Radiant Flames, suggesting that maybe Justin would like to take that. Justin just writing everything down, carefully going through it before making his selection. Players just talking to one another right now. Not quite sure if there's a misunderstanding. Yeah, and Justin making a selection, just choosing to take the Nissa there. Making sure that Ben can't keep hitting his land drops as easily. And also making sure that he won't be able to develop that out into powerful Planeswalker. Right here, I think we'll see Justin fire off the Ultimate Price, just getting rid of that Tireless Tracker immediately. It does get one clue because Ben has chosen to play the Tireless Tracker and then follow up with his land drop rather than any other sequencing, so that's quite good for him. Justin just playing another land out, passing the turn back. Yeah, and we see Nahiri come down here from Ben. Choosing to tick up, discard that Radiant Flames from earlier, draw a new card off his deck. He finds an Evolving Wilds, which I think he will just play here. Yep, just playing out that Evolving Wilds and passing the turn back.
Sorry about that.
Jess has just joined me again, so commentary will get slightly more interesting, I hope. So Justin just tapping out here for this Sorin on turn 6. Wondering whether he'll choose to... Yeah, so he's gone for a plus. He finds a Read the Bones there. Just goes into his hand, does a couple of damage to Ben, but at the moment I don't think that Justin's too worried about dealing too much damage to Ben.
I think given the choice of, killing Sorin to kill Nahiri or ticking up, it's not like Justin could go face.
Yeah.
Going face really wasn't an option here, so...
Yeah, I don't think there was too much chance that he was going to...
It was either play the Sorin and tick up or just don't.
Yeah, and I believe that there may have been a Ruinous Path. Yes, there's a Ruinous Path in Justin's hand, so he's lined that one up with this Nahiri here. Ben is going to get another sort of loot out of it before that happens.
So Ben's actually got an attacker in his hand.
He does. He has the big...
He's a turn of casting it, I believe. If he has the land drops for it, maybe that's what he's hunting for now. Awkwardly enough, it means his Nahiri can't go and get an attacker when it ultimates.
Yeah, so he's played that Oath of Nissa there, and he's chosen to take a second attacker rather than the land that would assure the first attacker can get cast. That seems like a pretty reasonable choice here, just because this is going to be a slower matchup. He's going to draw some more cards over the course of the game and get to cast these cards eventually.
The way that Ben's played this is that he can now attacker to kill Sorin, regardless of the mode. Very well played. Luckily, he did have the Needle Spires in play. Justin needs 2 pieces of hand interruption to interact with the fact that he does have double attacker. They are the only 2 attackers that he holds.
Okay, and we find a Gideon off the plus on Sorin this time. That is the interesting thing about this black-white control deck. Generally, control decks playing counter magic, but this black-white deck obviously doesn't have the option of playing that. It only has hand disruption. So you can sort of set up more concrete plays, I suppose, to get across multiple turns like that. Deal some damage to Sorin, not kill it, but make sure it's in range for that attacker. Yep, so we see the Ruinous Path just get rid of Nahiri, which Nahiri was sitting on 8 again, so Justin definitely not wanting to see that ultimate.
It would have been a real blowout as well, because Ben's got the attacker in his hand, so he plays the attacker, plays ultimates Nahiri, just either wipes Justin board or just wipes Justin.
Yeah, and then Justin has enough mana now to play the Gideon as well, so he's really established a pretty fearsome board state. If Ben can't find this 7th land in the next turn or so, I think he's going to be really struggling.
Because Ben the attacker only kills one thing right now.
Yeah, so he gets to kill Sorin or Gideon. Oh, well.
So lucky. So he does draw the land. But as I was saying, he can either kill Sorin or he can kill Gideon. I don't really think he's looking at killing the 2/2, but that's all he can do. So he does choose to kill the Gideon and deal 1 damage to the Sorin. But Ben's on 13 now, so Sorin becomes a little more scary.
Yeah, so that's it. I think choosing Gideon there is the right choice. Ben just wants to make sure that Justin can't develop out a big board and have potential lethal with sort of 1 removal spell here. So we'll see what Justin has. I imagine he's going up on Sorin here.
He can deal 3 damage to Ben or attack, as his other options. So going up, unless he started playing Lightning Bolt, seems like the best play. Secure the Waste steals 1 damage.
Yeah, it'd have to be a pretty sort of complex series of like attack with my knight, hope you block, grasp of darkness minus my Sorin to kill the attacker, which seems like a bit of a stretch. So yeah, Sorin going up there. and finding a Secure the Wastes, which not so good on the damage part or the life loss part of Soren's ability, but pretty good in this spot here, I think, really.
Back to the rest of the other 4 players that we've got. So Daniel Zhao beat Arnold Lee in Green Red Ramp versus Abzan Seasons Pass, which we told you about earlier. He's now going to be playing his top for a match with Ben Tudman, who defeated David Johnson, who was on Mono White Humans. Ben Tudman, of course, being on Green Black Cryptolith Rights. Kind of like the old school deck that we first saw at the Pro Tour. So we have Ramp versus Green Black Cryptolith Rights.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one, because at the Pro Tour, obviously, we saw the Goggles ramp deck, but this is a more sort of traditional ramp deck that isn't playing cards like Tormenting Voice or Magmatic.
It's basically playing the 4 Cosmoliths return for Explosive Vegetation,
Yeah.
typical standard green-red deck,
Yeah.
with the Chandras, etc.
Just into Chandra, but not the full 4 World Breakers, interestingly
3.
enough, yeah. So we see Duskwatch Recruiter come down here, Ataka just getting across, big damage. But Justin being able to secure the wastes for 7 tokens here, that's a lot of attackers. If he is able to find a second Gideon here, then that's definitely going to seal the deal, which he drew straight off the top.
So yeah, he had 9 points of power, not including the non-existent Shambling Vent. So.
And he also had the Westvale Abbey, so even if he didn't find the Gideon, he had some really powerful plays with Ormondol.
It really depends on what he thinks Ben's hand is, and I think the safest play is Gideon Emblem here.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll see. We'll just see Gideon, Emblem.
See the thumbs up from Ben?
Yep.
We're going to a game 2?
I will opt to attack with my huge force.
No, before.
Before attacks, I will kill your Duskwatch Recruiter just in case. Fair enough.
And we're going to a game 2. Justin Chung leading Ben Johnson 1-0. Justin Chung has taken a mulligan. They both made their first land drop. Ben's currently in his draw step and he's drawn an attacker, not something you really want to be seeing on turn 2 of your game. But we'll see a Sylvan Advocate here and hopefully maybe a Tireless Tracker to smoothen out the curve, but otherwise a turn 4 Nahiri is probably what we'll be seeing from his side. On Justin's side, maybe a Transgress the Mind here. Called it.
Okay.
Haven't even seen his hand.
He does have the Transgress here, but he has drawn that one. He had a pretty awkward opener here. 2 Westvale Abbeys, the Caves of Koilos, 2 Secure the Waste, and then an Obnixilis. And then he scryed to the bottom. But he has managed to find this Transgress the Mind, which hopefully will let him stabilize a little bit, because his hand definitely has power sort of later in the game, but right now it really isn't going to be able to do too much.
It needs to kind of disrupt Ben in the early stages until he can make those land drops.
Yeah.
Until he finds his, second black, second white source and isn't taking a lot of pain from the Caves of Koilos in the process of doing so. I think in this case you'd probably take the Nahiri, just because it's coming down the quickest.
Yeah.
Quarantine Field isn't really impacting the battlefield right now, but it would be my second choice, just because if Justin manages to draw into a Kalidas or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. I think you want to just take the early play here. So I think this turn 2 Sylvan Advocate is going to do some serious work this game. Unless Justin happens to draw sort of an ultimate price or something like that straight off the top here, that Sylvan Advocate is just going to keep crunching in. Okay, so we see a Read the Bones, a pretty painful one though.
It's going to take 3 life and a turn off him, but he's going to find a draws, some lands maybe.
So right now looking at another Read the Bones at an ultimate price.
I think you keep the ultimate price and ship the Read the Bones.
Yeah, I think you have to keep the ultimate price, because otherwise, that's sort of the thing, like Read the Bones here costs 1 off the pain land, 2 off the actual spell, and then kind of another 2 off the Sylvan Advocate. So you really can't take too many turns off.
Taking a random card also means that he can just kind of find a land as well.
Yeah.
He's 1 card deeper into finding a land without having to take 3 pain on it.
Definitely. Okay, so we see an Oath of Nissa here for Ben, just having a little look at the top of his deck.
Nissa,
Ooh.
Tireless, Striker, Sylvan Advocate. This is exactly what he wants to see to punish Justin
Yeah.
for an unfortunate mulligan.
These are definitely the cards I think that Ben would really like to find right here.
And I think Tireless Tracker is what you want. So, I mean, you've got Ataka as your 7-drop, and you don't want to be deploying Nissa right now. She doesn't really do anything. Tireless Tracker is going to be a clock. It's going to be some card advantage, and I don't think he should be playing at this turn.
You don't think you should play Tiles Tracker this turn?
No.
Okay.
I think you need to be getting the immediate value off it, since you might be losing some value to the fact that he's just going to have a kill spell for it. You want to at least be getting 1 to 2 clues from here if you get lucky with an Evolving Wilds.
Sure, and we saw that last game, Ben sequenced in such a way that he would get the clue off his Tiles Tracker, and he has decided to hold back on it. Just because Justin's mana has worked out so awkwardly and he hasn't really been able to do anything on these earlier turns, I think there is a consideration to just play it there, just to put pressure on, to make sure...
I think if Justin goes second Black Source into Languish, it's a blowout, and holding it back a turn is worth so much more in this case. It's not like Ben's deck doesn't have grind potential, because it does. His grind potential is just a lot less typically. Justin's drawn a Swamp for this turn as well. So he is making those land drops. He's still going to be taking some pain from that case though. But it does mean he can play an Oblixilus next turn, tick down and kill the Tireless Tracker. Ben doesn't have like a Needle Spires or anything, so the Oblixilus is pretty safe at the moment to everything but that Quarantine Field and a Taco lead turn later.
Yeah, that's very true. And Ben choosing to play the untapped land just to crack this clue straight away. And yeah, we do see the Obnixilis come down. Yep. And just going to remove the Tiles Tracker. Yep, so Ben sacking the clue, gets to draw a card, finds another land. Not too impressive here, but each land he does find at this point is just getting him closer and closer to Dragonlord Ataka. But I think when he drew another land there for his draw step as well, we're getting to the point where we're just few too many lands.
I mean, Ben's hand is currently, a not very useful removal spell. Some lands and an Ataka. The Ataka is going to take care of the Obnixilis unless Justin, transgresses it away. Since he knows of its presence.
Yep, so Justin just plussing Obnixilis here, getting some more cards into his hand. He finds a Plains there, so he can make his land drop this turn. And he's just considering his options. I imagine he's sort of thinking about potential Avacyn here, maybe.
He's had a look at Ben's hand, and Ben's played his hand in such a way that I think there's only one card that he doesn't know about, which is the land. Ben's exposed the Fortified Village, the Needle Spires, the Oath of Nissa, and everything else was known apart from the one land that he's drawn at the top.
Yeah, there is just the one draw step there, so it's not too likely that it's Avacyn, but it is worth considering because it could make a big difference here. If Justin goes for a tap out to play a Sorin or something like that, and then there is an Avacyn which gets to come down and kill Obnixilis or Sorin.
I think the decision he's making here is whether to play a Gideon or a Sorin.
Yeah.
So if there is an Avacyn, Avacyn could attack Obnixilis while Ataka deals 5 damage to the other Planeswalker.
Yep.
Or Avacyn could attack Sorin, and Ben could deal some amount of damage to Sorin and Obnixilis. So I agree that Avacyn is enemy number 1 right now, since he knows about the Ataka, and I think he just has to play it out anyway.
Yeah, he just plays a Gideon, puts some pressure on. And he's also holding up the 2 mana there. So, that's representing the ultimate price or grasp of darkness that would answer the Avacyn even if Ben did have it.
Could you find reason to tick up Gideon in that spot instead of making a token, since it makes his Ataka a little bit worse?
I don't think you want to. I think you do just want to commit to the board here. It would make potentially make Dragonlord Attacker slightly worse. Ben has chosen to play the Attacker and kill Obnixilis and the Knight there, leaving Gideon alone. So I just think you lose so much value if you do tick it up that you probably don't ideally want to make that play there. Yeah.
So Justin's on 8. Justin's on 10, and without a removal spell, he's about to take 8.
Yeah, he is about to take a lot of damage, potentially here. Any additional damage from Ben could present a really powerful lethal.
He goes end of turn, Secure the Wastes, untap Ormondal.
Yeah, so
hope you don't have a removal spell or swing for 9 to gain some life.
Yeah, that's sort of where I was going with that. I think if Justin gets to end of turn, Secure the Waste for a lot here and doesn't end up being dead, so there's not something that's going to add damage here, Chandra or.
I mean, Ben's only running one Chandra.
Yeah, there is only the one Chandra, and there's no sort of direct.
Oh, that's interesting. Ben opts to kill the Gideon.
Okay, that's a fair play here.
Is it?
He definitely doesn't want the Secure the Waste to get emblemed, I don't think.
Sure. Yeah, that makes
He
sense.
also doesn't want more tokens to sort of come out. He knows that he's not presenting lethal.
But he is next turn.
Yeah. But I believe his plan was to present lethal anyway with Sylvan Advocate and the Needle Spires and the Dragon Lord next turn, and it doesn't really change too much here. But we do see the big Secure again, so it'd be interesting to see if we do go for the Westvale Abbey plan of make the Profane Prince, gain a huge chunk of life, and put a whole lot of pressure on Ben.
It can also instant speed up when Attacker attacks next turn.
Yep, that is very true.
Which means you actually do get to attack with your 1/1 system should you want to.
Choosing not to attack there, I imagine just to have the largest possible number of blockers against some potential removal.
He drew the Avison.
Okay, so that's an Avison there. It is going to.
Jess is a little bit excited.
It is going to protect the Dragon Lord if it gets blocked by a Profane Prince, but it is a little bit awkward because playing the Avison locks him out from being able to activate the Needle Spires. Not the Needle Spires lines up excellently against all these tokens,
Yeah.
but.
So, double strike not so good.
Yeah, we're just imagining that Justin would probably.
Interestingly enough, Ben does also have that quarantine field
He-
for about 1 million.
He does. He can exile a lot of permanents here. So this is actually really quite close here. Wondering whether Justin goes for another huge Secure the Wastes here.
That is really interesting. Yeah.
Yep, so he does. He just gets another, 6 tokens?
I think it's more. No, it's 6.
Yeah, because he played the Shambling Bets
Ah,
last
sure.
turn, so.
Sure.
Just the same amount as the first one.
Oh, and again he draws it.
He draws the Gideon off the top.
I think if there's one lesson to take away from this is once you cast a Secure the Waste and you're in an iffy position, just draw the Gideon. Don't even bother playing Magic, just draw the Gideon.
Doubling the power you have in play is generally a good play, I think.
I think it's where you want to be.
Yeah. So now we get to see. Does he have a land? If he has a land, can he play Gideon and still present Ormondal?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he can't.
No.
He's too much short. Interestingly, Ben can't cast Avison and activate Needle Spires.
Yeah, that's what we're sort of looking at. So Justin is doing some maths here, seeing if everything is the worst sort of possible situation for me, can Ben survive? because we're looking at 13 attackers,
Possible
each
14.
with 2 or 3 power,
Yeah.
most of them having 2. He does have enough mana to activate shambling vents as well. So yeah, we're looking at 14 attackers.
And he gains a bunch of life off the shambling vent as well. Or
Yeah, he
3
gets
life.
to gain 3 life.
Cool. Ben sacrificing Evolving Wilds. Is it to shortcut? I believe it's to shortcut.
Yeah, I'm not particularly sure where we were. Okay. So we see Gideon come down. Gideon getting minused immediately to make an emblem. We see an activation on Shambling Vents. Justin loses a life to the Pain Land there, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal.
Attacker will block. Well, assuming like Shambling Vents gets a free block. Sylvan Advocate gets a free block.
Yeah, so he has 14 attackers.
And Justin
he blocks
takes
the
that
3
2-0.
biggest, and then
Yeah.
still just dies.
So we'll be seeing Ben Tudman, who defeated Daniel Zhao 2-0 with his Green-Black Cryptolith Rides versus Green Red Ram. In the finals with Justin Chung. We're going to take a small break, and we'll see you guys shortly.